you realize how much complain do you do every day? Are you the type of person who complains too much?
Magandang umaga, tanghali, gabi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. Konbanwa and konnichiwa. So, what are we going to react? I prepared something for you and me to listen to, and maybe it would be helpful for all of us so that kind of reflect on our own self. Sometimes when things are not doing good in your life, and there are things that no matter what you do, it's just not going to the path you are expecting. So for me, whenever those times arises, I always look into what am I doing that is repetitive? Like, what am I doing that I always do and end up in that situation? And then I would change that. And the same thing with complaints. We're going to talk about complaints. Diba? Eto na tayo, guys. Ayan. If you're complaining too much, that means there might be something that rather than complaining on people around you, first of all, look into yourself. Like, what are you doing? I want it to be relatable to you guys. Life isn't all about ups. Usually, most of the time, it's down. We're going to talk about those complaints. How do you find positivity in negative situations, especially when you're frustrated? That's where the complaints are. Sa Tagalog, guys, reklamo. Reklamo kayo ng reklamo. Ganon. Like, is there any levels of complaints that you do in everyday life? Or, I would say, we do. Kasama ako, guys. We do in our everyday life. Where are the levels that you could say, this is okay? And where is the level that's too much? You need to stop because it's basically ruining your progress, ruining your life, your interactions with other people. Is there any difference between complaining about your life, something that you can control, and something that you cannot control? How are we going to deal about that? Is making complaints in a business or commercial settings also, where is the line that it is okay and it is not okay? Challenge ourselves. Mindset challenge. Emotionally and spiritually fit. Whatever the spiritual means to you. In the Philippines, in Japan, it's totally different in a way. In the Philippines, usually a lot of people likes to complain too much. I feel like they complain about every little things. I wonder if it's cultured or because we're so carefree as an individual, which is a good and a bad thing itself. If things doesn't go our way, rather than accept it is what it is, they're gonna complain in the government. They're gonna complain on their life because they're started poor or anything. And in Japan, on the other hand, we don't really like to complain. Even though we don't like it, we kind of like suck it in. Just do whatever it is. It is what it is. No complaints, no confrontation, and we'll leave miserable. Ganon. O hindi ako kasali doon. I'm not included in that. I do my own thing. And that's the thing with multicultural. When you experience different cultures, you're being open. Life knowledge, as what they say. Wisdom. Your wisdom grows because you kind of understand things in a different perspective. So that's why I always encourage everyone to kind of like speak English. That's one, so you can communicate with other people. And of course, try to travel if you can travel, because that's number one, that you can actually see it in person and kind of experience everything. And of course, the third one, be open. And if you're in other country, guys, please do pitch in. It's like, what is the complaint thing? Like, I know in America, there's Karens of the world. O, diba? Ayan. So, may mga ganung bagay. O, diba? So, in your country, is there anything that is particularly rooted, like cultured rooted in culture? You have complaints. As I've said, every week, every Saturday, if you have rants, if you have stress, you can talk that here in my live stream because we're just chatting, chilling, and of course, sharing our stories. Maybe other people would actually, what's wrong? Gugulat ako sa face ko. Sometimes when I look at the screen, I feel like I'm getting I'm getting surprised in my own reaction. Di ba, kaloka? Ay, nako. Ikaw na magkalo ng kalukarit kong tao, di ba, guys? Even if you think this is not going to be interesting for you, but if you're not doing anything anyways, just play me in the background, listen to me. Listen to, maybe you like it, maybe you don't, but if you're not gonna try, you wouldn't know. You might be missing out on something that will change your life. Diba? Kaloka. One of the things that I feel like a lot of people are doing is they always complain, but they don't do anything about it. It's just blah 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 most of the time. So how are you guys? Diba? So according to Wikipedia, complaining is a form of communication that expresses dissatisfaction regardless of having actually experienced the subjective feeling of dissatisfaction or not. Correct me if I'm wrong, if I misunderstood this, diba? Complaining, which is kind of like weird because sometimes people complain but they're not really experienced it yet, but they just like to complain. If I'm gonna understand this and comprehend this according the definition according to Wikipedia, this is where those people now in social media, sometimes you say something and then they complain because these people says it or these people has an opinion like that, but they're not really in that situation. So in Tagalog guys, ayan, sa pagkakaintindi ko, at kung mali ang pagkakaintindi ko guys, ayan, sa Tagalog, ito yung mga nagre-reklamo na hindi naman sila karapat-dapat magreklamo dahil hindi naman sila yung nakaka-experience ng pagkakataon o kaya yung mga biktima, 'di ba? Nananahimik pero sila yung mga hindi biktima pero ang ingay. Yun yung yun yung ibig sabihin ni Wikipedia. Relate kayo guys. Ayan. And the video that we're going to talk about is from Jack Canfield. You know guys, those Chicken Soup for the Soul books? He is the co-author of this, and he's also like in 2005. He also co-authored Janet Switzer, The Success Principles. So how to get from where you are to where you want to be. Anyone that have read it? So if you are read this is him. This is his channel. How to stop complaining and how to understand if you think that you complain too much, or at least realize that you complain too much, then it's time to challenge your mindset with the video that I'm going to present to you right now. I want you to challenge yourself and let me know if you did do it and what did you learn.
Have you ever noticed how much you complain? It's something we all do. And whenever something bothered us, we tend to complain about it. But not only is complaining an ineffective response to something, it actually holds you back from resolving the situation that's bothering you. But here's the thing about complaining. It will never get you the better results that you want. Sure, you might get some commiseration from other people who think like you do, and that might give you a momentary feeling of validation, but your actual circumstances won't change in any way. The problem will keep coming back over and over and over.
I'm pretty sure everyone already knows that if you complain, always complain, and you're not doing anything, then you're not going anywhere. You're not resolving anything. But at the same time, we also know that if we complain with things that bother us in everyday life, it does feel good. I get that. Every one of us complain in little things. But at the same time, if it's something that affecting your life, then it's something that I think you really need to look really deeper to yourself and realize what are the things that you keep doing wrong. If you made it right, then you won't complain. And then another thing, I've been talking about this a lot. A lot of us usually says that.
I'm tired. I'm so tired.
We like to say it. Where is the line of you're complaining because you're just saying it because it does makes us feel good if we say it, or your intention of saying it is to make other people feel bad about you, or you're wanting to get sympathy from them. So I think it comes down from the intention of complaining. But at the same time, all of you guys, I just want you to kind of like realize things in your own life. You don't have to say anything. You'll just have to internally process or realize these things. Ayan. So let's continue.
E plus R equals O. And that stands for event plus your response equals an outcome. So when something happens in your life and you don't like the outcome, the only way to get a different result is to actually change your response. And if you want to change the outcome, you've got to change that response.
event means the situation, right? The situation you're in. And this is what we've always talked about. And you probably heard this many, many times from different people. Most of the time, you cannot really control things that would happen around you. There are just things in life that is out of your control, like people's thoughts, people's feelings, people's emotion. And that's why sometimes in a relationship, it's really hard because you cannot control the other people. As much as you want to, you cannot. And it's not a good thing to control someone. Everything that you experiencing, everything that might happen, the only power is how you're going to respond in these things. And that's where being emotionally matured and being emotionally fit, diba? Galing ko, is very, very important. And that's why this channel has always been physically fit, because as a personal trainer, that's what I do. Emotionally fit, because as pandemic happened, I hope everyone just understand how much mental health matters to everyone. And of course, those emotional. In these times and generation, I really, really, really feel like that everyone is too soft. Everyone. I forgot sometimes, you know. If I'm harsh, guys, bala kayo dyan. If I'm too harsh, that's your problem, guys. At least you heard it from me. People complains too much is because I feel like you didn't really experience hardships. Or even if you experience hardships, there are still people out there that are just not emotionally matured. I hate to say the word mentally weak. You can be mentally strong. You'll just have to really be open to suggestions. Be open to other people's experiences and walk through their stories. And that's what I'm trying to give you guys. Different stories of different people. All of us can actually learn from different scenarios, different stories, because that's where you understand, or at least have a glimpse of things that you'll probably won't experience. But if you did, at least you heard from someone that that's how they deal with it. And you can actually implement that with your own life.
And the first step of the process is to simply become more aware of when you complain. Now, awareness...
Oh, bakit siya nag-stop, guys? Ayan. O, diba? Nag-stop yung player ko, guys.
I've been doing it for many, many years.
Ano daw sabi niya, guys? Become more aware when you complain. Ooh. Exactly. And we've talked about that a lot in this channel. Being self-aware. This is very, very important that you understand or learn the word self-awareness, because not everyone, there's a lot of people who rants too much, who complains too much. There's a lot of miserable people in the world because of these things. You are not self-aware. All you do is complain. All you do is put the blame on people around you or situations or anything that would justify your complaint. And that is because you lack self-awareness. And I get it, guys. From time to time, you're not going to be perfectly self-aware because you're human. But if it's like every single situation you're doing that, oh my God, Jesus, don't even expect that you'll be happy. Because if you are not self-aware, social skills out the window. Means you're not gonna get any girlfriend or boyfriend because you are not so... I'm too much, guys. Okay, guys.
Now, awareness is the first step to change, because if we don't realize that we're complaining, we can't change it. Now, for many of you, complaining is a habit. You've been doing it for many, many years.
Have you ever encountered a person who complains too much? And in the Philippines, we have this called yung tipong, I think I can associate this with this, yung tumatandang paurong or yung tumatanda pero walang pinagkatandaan. O, di ba? Laging sinasabi yan ng lola ko. So, in English, guys, complaining is a habit. And it's also like passed on. Like if you just notice how much you get some character you have because you've seen it from your parents, or how much other people tell you like you look like your mom or you look like your dad, and they're particularly telling about the complaining because it's a habit. And if it's kind of like you're surrounding with these people, when you complain and you attract people from all sorts of life, you get these justification that you were right, and it's always going to be addictive, and it's always going to be so damn nice to feel good when you are right. But that's what we're trying to learn in this channel, that not everything is to be right. It's better to understand things for your own benefit, for your own well-being.
And that's the next step you've got to take to transform your complaints into results-driven action. You've got to figure out if the situation you're complaining about is something you can change or not.
There are things in life that you just cannot control. So those are the things that you probably should really understand, that if it's out of your control, don't worry about it. It's out of your control. What can you do? There's really nothing you can do. So if you worry too much, if you stress about it too much, I feel like it's just wasted time, wasted energy for what?
So what you do is you ask yourself, is this something I have any control over? Is there something I can do to fix this?
Be self-aware. Just recapping, you guys. The next one, think about that event. Event plus response is the outcome. If it's something that is in your control, that's the second step. Or it's out of your control. Analyze the situation you are.
So if it's something you can influence or fix, then your next step is to take action and to fix it. But if it's something that you can't change, then what you have to do is realize that you have a choice to simply stop complaining about it. It is just the way it is. You don't have to be putting yourself through that feeling of frustration and helplessness. Is it there's my business, there's other people's business, and there's God's business.
I really want to kind of like explore a little bit about this, because my business, your business, God's business. I'm not really too religious. I was wondering, what are those things? So pay attention to this, guys.
My business is something I can actually do something about. How you raise your children is your business. How I raise my children is my business. And a tsunami in Japan or Indonesia, that's God's business. I can't do anything about that. So it's useless to spend time thinking about it or even feeling bad about it. So you've got to look at what you actually have dominion over and what you can do, and then ask yourself, am I willing to do it?
See, many times again, I really feel good about myself. I really feel good about myself because I am right. But that's not the point, guys. That's not what I'm trying to make you learn, guys. My business is my business. Something that you can control. Things that you can control. Does that mean you can complain on things because you can control it? Like, for example, being tired. It's something that you can control. Manage things. Sometimes it is what it is. Life is sometimes really hard. And for those people that has it in easy mode, be really thankful that you have it. Like, really enjoy every single minute of it. Because not everyone can actually live life without worries. Some people can actually, they worry every day that they couldn't eat. But that's something, again, that you can control. Find something to eat. Do something. Things that we cannot create, which is the last one, God's business. It is the higher power that we cannot control those things.
Now, one of the things that complaining does is it makes you weak. It keeps you in a powerless condition. And often people do that as a way of avoiding to have to take an uncomfortable action. It's easier to complain about it to anyone who will listen than to do the thing that actually is uncomfortable, that will get you the result you want. But if you don't take action, you're going to remain stuck right where you are.
Ouch. I do feel like that. And I think that's another good thing about Japan, actually, is because we're not really big into complaining. Rather than complain, I'll just do it, you know?
Whatever. I've been telling you this many times. You're not doing it. I'll do it.
We're kind of like that. Taking that into consideration, that when you complain, it makes you weak. That makes it more understandable why Japanese doesn't want to complain, because it's our way of showing that we're strong.
So this month, as a way of beginning to lean into letting go of complaining, I want to challenge you to take part in my 7-day no complaining challenge. And the goal is
Ooh, this is his challenge for his community. I'm sharing this to you guys. So if you want to, you can actually do this challenge and also watch the full video of this. The link would be the description box down below.
paying attention to your thoughts and your words and noticing every time you complain.
Can you do that, guys? Can you actually notice if you complain too much? Because I do really feel like if you have no self-awareness to start, how? If you're not, you should watch my self-awareness. You might find it helpful or you might find it motivational depending on how you look at things. Watch that one, because this is a process. You know, we're just trying to enjoy this process.
And your first goal is to simply notice when you complain.
See? Notice when you complain, which means your first goal, guys, is to have self-awareness. Because if you don't have self-awareness, how are you going to notice yourself that you complain too much? Or, I'm just thinking right now, if you think you're going to be biased with your own situation, you want to take this challenge seriously, you should probably ask someone like super close to you that you trust and tell them, once you complain, tell them to tell you you're complaining. So that it's probably gonna help you process what is self-awareness. And obviously from there, it would start, and then eventually you're gonna have to notice, which is the first goal when you complain.
Write down your complaints if possible, so you become even more aware of how often you complain and what you tend to complain about. Your next goal is to remind yourself that you have a choice. You can choose not to complain, and instead you can take a different approach.
See, I think that's really powerful. The second one, really, I think you have a choice. And I've always said this. Number one, that I've always been stubborn about.
You always have a choice. If you're complaining about things that are beyond your control, then I encourage you to simply let it go. Think about something else instead. Focus on the positive things in your life. Practice gratitude for those things. Focus on the things you can change and then take action to change them.
I've always had a strong belief on you always have a choice. And I've always kind of like stubborn about it. Like I really do. Because every situation, everything, like from waking up in the morning, whether you'll brush your teeth or you're gonna wash your face, everything are choices, little choices. But the thing is, the big ones, of course, there's choices. But the bigger the problem is, the bigger the struggle is, well, obviously, the bigger the risk is. Complain the universe, and universe will give you more to complain about. And in Tagalog, we have that. Reklamo ka ng reklamo, manganganak yan. Ganon. When you complain, I feel like it just kind of like giving birth to another one, to another one, and to another one. Like the word tired. Because this is the most common one that we says every day. All of us say it every day. In Tagalog, guys, ayan, syempre, multilingual tayo, guys, di ba? May pakulot sa bangs, boss, kaya nga eh. biglang nag-ano. Bakit ba? I think hindi pangit ba? Pangit ba, admin? It's not good. Feeling ko mag one-sided eh. Like the other side is different and then the other side is different. I just feel like it. Bakit ba? Diba? Ito talaga si admin kung ano-ano napapansin eh. And, diba, ang kulit ng bangs ko, guys. Hayaan, huwag niyo nang pansinin yung bangs ko, guys. Ganyan talaga siya. Wala tayong magagawa. I want this channel to be something kind of like raw. Diba? Raw. Ang gulo ng hair ko. Ayun. Diba?
They tell me that I'm never gonna make it. They want me to do something that could make sense.